Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Cool. The Sports Bros Podcast is a sports podcast that's by the fans, for the fans, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. Back once again, like Bad Beth in the morning, is another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Let's show the world how good we look. We look great, Beth. Don't we?
Bad Beth? You say Bad Beth?
Bad breath in the morning. There's no Bad Beth over here. Bad Beth, like bad breath in the morning. No, not Bad Beth in the morning. No, we don't. There's no bad mention of Bad Beth on here. But anyways, it's been it's another action-packed episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. How in the hell are we going to follow up next week's episode? I don't know, but we're going to try. But with that being said, I can't do this alone. I have two of the best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? 148 episodes strong, I do believe. Man, we've been going strong for 3 years. How do we follow up from last week? We just keep going because sports keeps going and it keeps getting more and more exciting and weirder and weirder. It's Sweet 16 in the men's. The women's going to be a Sweet 16 at some point in time. I believe it's rest of the games finishing up, going to Sweet 16, are going on right now as we speak. So, man, there's so much to talk about. You know what? Let's go ahead. Let's get the other guy in there real quick. Let's talk about him so he can feel a little bit better about himself, and then we can move on with the show. Yes, sir.
All right, and speaking of the other guy, he is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania. None other than the one. 3, 2, 1. I got to do it again. 3. I don't know what the hell happened. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And speaking of the other guy, here he is, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania. He is the one, the only, none other than the money man, Scottie D.
Yeah. It's a party in the USA. What a party. March Madness doesn't disappoint. It's guaranteed a good time every year, and it didn't disappoint this year. It wasn't a lot of actual buzzer beaters, but a lot of really good, hotly contested games. I'm looking forward to speaking on that subject, Eddy Cool. Be Live, did you watch any basketball?
Oh, but of course. Come on, man.
Yeah, man.
This guy right here, come on. I caught in as much as I could. It's one of those things, as soon as I got off of work, even in between breaks and everything, don't tell my boss. But in between breaks, I was watching the phone, looking at it. I was getting as much basketball as I possibly could. And, man, March Madness has not disappointed at all. So,
unless you're a Kentucky fan.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, yes.
Let's go ahead and start off right there with that. Because not only did Kentucky's men lose in the first round, Kentucky's women also lost in the first round.
Can't be happy about that out there. Basketball is God out there.
And on top of that, I'm going to throw you out another caveat that you may not have known. Both Kentucky's men and women's programs both got beat by schools in New Jersey. So
interesting.
St. Peter's is located, and St. Peter beat Kentucky. St. Peter's is located in New Jersey. Princeton beat Kentucky's women, which and Princeton is located in New Jersey. And on top of that, St. Peter's turned around and beat Murray State as well. Murray State's located in Kentucky.
Right, yeah.
So New Jersey has the best of Kentucky right now. Oh my God, you can't script that at all. So I was like, all right, well, but then again, Louisville women still in there, so they're still representing the state pretty well. But yeah, the Kentucky men's programs. Hey, St. Peter's, number 15 seed in the Sweet 16. I think it's only happened like twice before ever. Mm-hmm. Was it last year? Who was it last year?
Oh, Florida Gulf Coast did it a couple years ago, I believe.
I think back in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 2013.
couple years ago, and I'm not sure who the one was last year. But yeah, it's a rare occurrence for sure.
Yep. So, Scottie D, what was your biggest surprise this far in the tournament?
The biggest surprise, I was surprised that North Carolina played so well that they could put up a 25-point lead on Baylor. And then I was surprised that they couldn't hold a 25-point lead. They surprised me twice in that game. And then actually third time, because once they went into overtime, I was sure Baylor was going to win. So they surprised me by coming back from their epic collapse and still winning that game. 25 points is a lot. I mean, I know Baylor is good, but you're North Carolina. You're an ACC team. If they did not win that game in overtime, that one would be a huge hole to crawl out of for that basketball program next year. I mean, you start over, but just saying that's something that would be a stain that they would have to really work on rinsing off going forward. So they're fortunate, and I know they had the what's the big white fellow with the beard and the red hair that he got. Malik, is that his name?
Yeah. I read Brady Malik. Yeah.
Brady Malik. Yeah. He got tossed, and there was a lot of controversy over that. I didn't think it was a good call to eject him because I didn't think he threw a vicious elbow. They called the flagrant 2 on him and booted him out of the game. To me, it looked like he was in the act of playing, and I didn't think it warranted getting kicked out of the game. But at that point, they were still up 16 with 8 minutes to go, and that happened. We all saw what happened. Mm-hmm. That was a surprise. I actually wasn't very surprised that Kentucky lost because they can't shoot. They can't shoot. I watched them in the SEC championship game the week prior, and I think we even talked about this last week, right? Said they didn't look that good to me as far as their shooting performance. And then when they went to overtime, I think they were 1 of 6 from the free throw line. If they make free throws, they probably would have advanced. But that one wasn't a surprise to me. Was there something that you saw surprising, B Live?
I look at it this way. North Carolina didn't surprise me at all because I've seen that inconsistent play from North Carolina all year long. That's why I picked them to lose because I just really thought at the end of the day their inconsistency was going to be the better. I believe North Carolina's they should be ranked A. So let's start right there. The talent that they have on that team is well above an 8 seed, well above should be a top 25 team, but their inconsistency every single time. You don't know which North Carolina team you're going to get. Are you going to get the North Carolina team that did not show up against Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament? Or are you going to get, again, the second half of the Baylor game? Or are you going to get the first half North Carolina team that could literally beat anybody in the country? So it's one of those things that did surprise me because we got to see both teams in the same game.
Yeah, really.
Man, oh man. And I will say this, my heart goes out to Baylor. Baylor has overcome they're the reigning champions, but they went through a lot this year with injuries and everything, and to make it to where they're at right now. But North Carolina was clearly the better team. But just the amount of heart that it takes to come back from 25 down on both sides, it's deflating for North Carolina. And Baylor just, left it all on the court, but for it to go into overtime, it just did not have any energy left. I can tell you, as a basketball player, running the 1-3-1 press for an entire half, for that 10 minutes, man, whoo! That's why we run all the suicides, because of that endurance factor. But no team can last that long running the press. For them to get to that point is second to none. So I haven't seen too many surprises. There's certain things that I already picked out. I knew Miami was better than what people are saying. Miami being a 10 seed is a joke. I've seen Miami play, but then again, the ACC across the board has been inconsistent. That's why there's only one team that was ranked in the top 25, and that's Duke. And Duke has even shown their inconsistency at points, at times, everything. In one of my feel-good brackets, I have Duke winning it all, but my money bracket, I had them not making it to the Sweet 16. They made it, and so ACC's looking good. Big 12's looking good. The Big 10 is terrible, and I've been saying that for years. Big 10 is all hype, and now it shows. They only got one team that's left in the Big 10, one team out of the SEC, all hype. The true bloods are there. It's gonna be very interesting because it's gonna be a dog fight. Like, I feel like one thing that I'm gonna say this right here. I'm predicting a loss for Villanova going against Michigan.
That's interesting that you said that, because I was going to actually ask you about that game because you were on the Big Ten. Villanova looked very good beating Ohio State. Like very poised, very composed. Not spectacular, but very fundamentally sound.
Here's one thing I'm guilty of, and I'll be honest with you, because I'm a fan. I'm not an analyst. I'm not a commentator. I'm a fan. One day I might be a commentator or analyst one day, but I'm a fan. So my heart goes into some of these games. And I see the heart that some of these teams put out there. I think Michigan, the way they're playing behind Juwan Howard, I think they've got more heart. Villanova plays mistake-free basketball, and Villanova hits free throws. That's one thing that's going to carry them very far. Hitting free throws. You see it dismantle teams time after time again. They're called free throws, and nobody takes advantage of it. I don't understand why there's not a fundamental right to be at the high school level, collegiate level, professional level, why free throws are not important anymore. You see it in every single game. That's what's
because they're practicing the handshake between them too much, I think.
With the thing and come on.
They're practicing that more than the free throw itself. You told me that they practice the handshake.
I remember I've been saying
3 years ago. You told me that.
Yeah, I did say that because I mean, but it's not as bad. It's not as bad as baseball though. Baseball, they got all kinds of stuff. They have a handshake for every single player. Like, come on. Like when you hit a home run,
that's like taking a pitch and then shaking somebody's hand between pitches, or swinging and missing and then shaking someone's head.
The practicing of the handshake, that was something completely different. That was during free throws, by the way. Yeah. That's what I remember what I was saying. That's a different handshake. But yeah, that's the rhythm. But again, good God Almighty, yeah, free throws need to be. Hear this, America. Every young person in America, please hear me now. Practice free throws. I guarantee you. Practice them. Your points per game average will go up at least 5 points by just making free throws. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they're important. They're very so important.
Yep. Matter of fact,
they're not just important at the end of the game. They're important throughout the game. I mean,
that's what makes the difference
at the end. Yeah.
Yep.
You see that during the ends of the game, but yeah, go ahead, Eddie.
Yep. How many times does Joel Embiid go to the free throw line a game? Like what? Was it 12, 13 or something like that?
Oh yeah, especially as a big guy. And and here's another thing that people fail to realize is that if North Carolina hit free throws, it doesn't go to overtime. Mm-hmm. It doesn't go to overtime at all. Because I mean, you clearly saw during that game that the referees kept their whistle in the mouth, just blowing every call.
They did. They did.
Jesus Christ! I wasn't going to talk about it because everybody's talking about it, man. That officiating during that game. Oh boy! I'm gonna need y'all to do what my man Scottie D says. Do
better, man.
Good.
That was rough.
And speaking of doing better, what in the hell was up with that lame duck call during the Houston and Illinois game when the kid made the dunk? And was it the kid from Illinois? And he wanted
give him a technical.
And he wanted to give him a technical, and even Reggie Miller was like, "Nah, that's not it. It's just his momentum." I mean, like ref, have you ever played basketball? You know that this happens.
That was a bad one.
Yeah, he wasn't taunting, slapping the backboard. It was just, hey, he was going up.
He wasn't even on it that long.
No, he was going up. His momentum carried him, and he kind of brought him around because think about it is, when you're up in the air like that, you don't know who and what is behind you.
I don't want to fall on my neck. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Let me get it together, and then I'm gonna bring it back down.
And then
when I get called technicals when I dunk, that nothing makes me crazier than that.
Okay, and Scottie D is putting in a segue for Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness, because that's in a whole different universe that Scottie D is able to dunk, because it ain't this one. It ain't this one at all. I'm just saying. I appreciate. I can't wait for that movie to come out. Comes out May in theaters. Disney, can I get my check? All right, cool. And I digress.
Yep.
I hate when I get teed up on my dunks. I just hate it.
Yep. So how your brackets looking, fellas?
I don't think I have one in.
You have one in, and it's terrible.
It's not good. Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think I have one in contention.
Let me see if
I got Arizona winning, and I think I had Texas Tech. They got beat, correct? Didn't Texas Tech get eliminated on Sunday night? I had them in the Final Four. I think they lost.
I can't recall.
No. Texas Tech is still in. They're facing Duke. They're in the Sweet 16. They beat Notre Dame 59-53. So.
Okay. That's the game I fell asleep watching. That's
man.
good. That's right. No, I did see that game. That's right. Notre Dame didn't shoot well in the second half, but they were tough out earlier.
Scottie D, I'm like you, man. I really want to stay up and see those late games, but next thing you know, I'm like, yep, I'm going to watch this game. And next thing you know, it's 6:00 in the morning. Like, what happened?
Yeah. And I'm not feeling well, guys. I apologize if I sound a little off this week, but a couple of these games I fell asleep. I fell asleep in the middle of it was a Michigan-Tennessee game. And I know that was a really good game. And I hate that I fell asleep during that one, but there were some other good ones to watch. We can talk about what some of our favorite games of the week. We're doing that.
Yep. Michigan and Tennessee was a good game. And how about Juwan Howard consoling the kid from Tennessee?
Yeah.
Ain't that something? Yeah.
I like it.
That was something too. What a game that kind of stood out to me was the New Mexico State and the UConn game. Now, we all know that UConn, they're a basketball power, this, that, and the third, and their coach, got a good coach. It's not Calhoun no more. It's Hurley. What Hurley is it?
Danny.
Yeah, coached by Danny Hurley. And then, no one knows a lot about New Mexico State. And then for New Mexico State to give UConn all that they could handle throughout the game. See, I was at work, but I did watch bits and pieces of the game, and I saw it was back and forth. And right when UConn thought they could close the gap, New Mexico State said, And then the kid from New Mexico State, I forgot his name, but was it Hard? No, not Teddy Hart. It's whoever he is, I'll find out. I'll get you the information shortly. But he went off for like 37 points.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he went off for 37
I
points.
I didn't realize that he did that. Yeah.
Yeah, he went off for like 37 points, and the kid just lit it up, and he led them to victory. But of course, then they ran into that buzzsaw known as Arkansas, and then they lost. So that's what game that had me thoroughly entertained: the New Mexico State and the UConn game.
I'll tell you a game that I really enjoyed, and that was the main event of the weekend was pretty much Duke versus Michigan State because he had Coach K going against Izzo. That was a great one. We'll get to that in a second, but I was thoroughly entertained by the Gonzaga-Memphis game, and I'll tell you why. First of all, Memphis, they were 8 or 9 seed. I can't remember, but either way, they were taking on Gonzaga out of the 1 seed, and they gave them all they could handle. I texted you guys at halftime. I said, these guys, they have that look about them. They were playing well. I guess Memphis had an early start to their season where they had some bumps, but clearly they were playing very well together. Penny Hardaway's their head coach, and he has a little bit of that kind of cachet where these guys are buying in. But what I liked the most about that game is that it was not a 3-point shootout. It was a good, well-played basketball game. And Gonzaga was down at halftime, and their star player is Drew Timme. He's kind of like the talk of the tournament with the mustache and all that stuff, and we know him from last year. This guy took over a stretch in the second half. I think he hit a 3-pointer, but he had like a 13-point stretch all on his own, and he was doing it mostly in the paint, little jump hooks and, spin moves in the paint, that type of thing. And Memphis wasn't settling for 3-point shots either. They just got outplayed by a better team. Gonzaga was clearly the better team. But I just thought it was a well-played game all the way through because these teams just didn't run and gun and take the first quick 3-pointer. A lot of good basketball. I kind of felt that way about Michigan State and Duke. That was a well-played game.
Oh, yeah. That was Michigan State Duke. That was just blue blood against blue blood. I mean, two of the most highly decorated coaches of all time, and Izzo and Coach K. What a storybook game, and that was like, it's almost sort of you wish that was like a in the Final Four national championship.
Yes,
but to have it that, man, hats off to Michigan State, Tom Izzo.
I hate that they got eliminated so early because we were just trashing the Big Ten, and I think they were at the end. They're probably playing better than anybody in the Big Ten, and yeah, like you said, that had a final. It had a Final Four field, didn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, it
absolutely.
Did. All the energy and everything, and I was like, oh man, they play some real tight basketball. This is you feel like this is like a Final Four game, like right here, not the national championship game, but the Final Four game. But yeah, you're right, Scottie D. It does.
And so just that game alone, just seeing the kids rally behind Coach K. I do not like Duke.
Do they have enough to streak to the finals though? Can they get it done? Ooh. Who do they play next? Who'd you tell? Are they playing Arkansas B? Is that what you told me?
Duke is playing Texas Tech.
Oh, they're playing Texas Tech. Okay, yeah.
And a lot of, and I've had my ear to the ground, not to analysts or anything, just friends of mine that are Duke fans. A lot of them are saying they're not feeling comfortable about Texas Tech. They predicted that Texas Tech would be the ones to upset them. I'm like, that is the pulse of the Duke Nation. So we shall see. I think it's going to be a very hotly contested contest. It's going to be a fight. I think every one of these games coming up right now, Sweet 16, man, I'm just looking at the bracket right now. Gonzaga, Arkansas, that's going to be a barn burner. Mm-hmm. Texas Tech, Duke. And then you got UNC versus UCLA. Can you tell me two schools that have more of a pedigree?
Right.
And then you got Purdue and St. Peter. we didn't change the holiday from St. Patrick's Day to St. Peter's Day because number 15 seed doing their thing. Who knows what they can do against Purdue? Then on the other side, you got Arizona versus Houston. I have Houston going all the way to the national championship game. And the way Houston played Illinois, them boys are playing ball. Mm-hmm. And so this is a lot of people have Arizona winning it all. So I think this is going to be, so that's what I said, this is going to be a huge game.
Me too. But I remember seeing Arizona early in the season and they were playing Rice or something like that. I'm like, all right, we got Houston doing what they do and Houston doing what they're doing. But then seeing them before the game got out of hand between Illinois and Houston, Scottie D was like, man, this game is good. It's going back and forth. And even the 5 minutes that I turned in from when it was going back and forth, it was like, man, this is a pretty good game. It's a highly contested game. But fellas, one of the not so surprises this week that I saw was the University of South Carolina Lady Gamecocks. I don't know if that was a tournament game or an exhibition. They beat the brakes off of Howard. They beat the brakes off them. I was like, oh.
Was it like 79-21 or something like that? Howard only scored 21 points.
It was 79-21, and then at one point it was like 55-8.
After the first half ended, South Carolina was up 44-4. Yeah. Howard scored 4 points in one half. And in women's game, there's actually broken down into 4 quarters. So the first 2 quarters, Howard scored 4 points.
That sounds like a Lakers first quarter game.
Oh, but y'all steady want to keep expanding the playoffs because this is the first year that the women's bracket has 68 teams, and so Howard did beat the Incarnate Word. I don't know. Does anybody know where that's at? That's the name of the college.
Yeah,
Incarnate Word.
I remember.
It has to be Catholic.
You got two. When Incarnate Word's in the tournament, you got too many teams in there.
Way too many.
You know too many. You scrounge up Incarnate Word and just throwing them in, and Howard scoring 21. You know you got too many teams. I think the women only need like 8. You throw in UConn, South Carolina, Tennessee, a couple others, and you're good to go.
Mississippi State,
Stanford. Yeah, you're good with 8.
Don't say that to South Dakota. South Dakota 10 seed in the Sweet 16. Don't say that to Villanova. They're number 11 seed. They're going against Michigan right now. I'm gonna even throw that out there. Villanova, Michigan women are going on as we speak. where Villanova's the number 11 seed, Michigan's the number 3 seed. Coming up, I believe it's either Thursday or Friday, the Villanova men, which are a 2 seed, are going against the number 11 seed, Michigan, where they flip-flop. And so it's a Villanova-Michigan war going on right now.
Yeah. I actually watched a little bit of Villanova's first round game, and they played BYU. And I just want to give a shout out to number 13 for BYU, because that chick was smoking hot, guys. I'm telling you. Whoa! Good Lord, she was smoking. Man, I think her name was Harding. Man, what a smoke show. 13 for BYU. Just got to give her a shout out. Anyway, I digress.
You definitely digress. You're going to get us canceled for real. You're going to get us canceled.
I'm paying compliments out here. I'm paying
These are 18 to 21-year-old kids.
Paisley Harding, Scott. Paisley Harding.
Standing ovation. She could play too. She was good. She's our best player.
That's what you lead off with.
B-Live, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if you remember a while back where somebody was watching somebody play ball, and somebody I forgot who it was, but they didn't know her exact number, but they was like, hey, number such and such is really good, and she took offense to that. And so that's what I'm trying to, yeah. So
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to help Scottie D out. I said, hey, number 13's name is Paisley Harding. Okay, so that way we're not getting no tweets. Money man Scottie D, he don't know my name. No.
Standing ovation. Standing ovation.
Sometimes the players and the people be moving too fast. You can't be paying attention. You're barely catching numbers here. You're catching numbers there. Just like I know the kid from New Mexico State is number 0. I forgot his name, but I know he's single 0. So if instead of chopping somebody's head off, help somebody out. Help somebody out. In the words of B-Live, help.
We should maybe move past this topic.
Yeah, right now we are going to move past it like I don't know what. So fellas, I'm waving my hands, my arms are flailing. So I'm just going to stop right now because guess what? A whole lot happened in the world of the NFL this weekend, especially a big old signing up here in Cleveland a few days ago. And a trade, yes, a trade that happened mere hours before this podcast started. You know what you got to do? You got to stay tuned to figure out what we're talking about. Free agent frenzy. It is here. It is upon us. And it's coming up next. I don't know if you've been paying attention. I don't know if you've been distracted, but there's a whole lot going on with the NFL free agency period. It is a frenzy. It's every man, every player, every team for themselves, trying to set themselves up for the upcoming season. And fellas, we have had a lot going on the last few days up until this hour leading up into the recording of this podcast. So the question I pose to you guys are, which free agent moves, be it via trades or free agent signings, do you think will have the biggest impact on their teams? Should we discuss the whole Davante Adams situation first, or should we get there?
Here's the thing. Let's just go ahead and get it out the way. You know what? Let's go ahead and get it out the way. Because who was surprised by this? Like the fact that you were surprised that Davante Adams left?
Oh yeah. I thought they franchise tagging him, and him and Aaron Rodgers were going to make another run together next year. Yeah, I did. I thought that was part of why Aaron Rodgers wanted to go back to Green Bay. I thought that was a big deal for him.
Okay, I could see that part. I was not surprised of the fact that when Davante Adams had a chance to skid-eatle, that they allowed him to, but I knew that he was looking for top dollar. He didn't want to be franchise tagged, and I don't know. Maybe they were the Packers were giving him an olive branch. I don't know what's going on in the Packers organization. But yeah,
something funny though, B. Did you see the story that came out Monday morning? Wasn't so much a story, but Davante Adams put out, I don't know if it's a tweet or a letter to Green Bay thanking the fans and all of his teammates. Did not mention Aaron Rodgers by name. Now, these two were a very successful tandem, and he didn't thank us. So I wonder if maybe there was a little bit of anger or jealousy with the contract thing, and Aaron Rodgers maybe didn't fight for him to get a contract coming back in the door. Aaron Rodgers had one foot out the door anyway. I'm wondering if maybe he didn't fight for Devontae to get a deal in Green Bay and okayed. I'll be fine, guys, if you trade him. I'm coming back. We'll rework my deal. It's okay if you want to trade Devontae. I know ahead of time because they said he did. It wasn't a surprise to Aaron Rodgers. He was aware that something like this was going to happen. So I'm wondering if there is not a little bit of bad blood in there because of that.
Well, here's the one thing that ends up happening. If you franchise tag him, then the following year he either becomes a free agent or you franchise tag him again, and he makes even more money. Right. So the franchise tag, that would have been more of an insult anyway to Devontae Adams, and that would have just been a strained relationship. The trade right here clearly states that there's a strained relationship. Here's what this is me thinking from looking from the outside in. Why was Aaron Rodgers signed before Devontae Adams? Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers, yes, MVP, congratulations, but you're on the other, as much as he did win the MVP, but he's on the other side of his football life. He may do a Tom Brady and do 3 or 4 more years, but the amount of controversy that Aaron Rodgers has put his entire team through with all this mess and all the COVID stuff and like that, Scott, he's your favorite person. For him didn't turn around and then get signed before Devontae Adams coming into a contract year, that right there just screams like, where is the priorities of the Green Bay Packers organization? Me, if I was a GM, I'm signing Devontae Adams first, and then, hey, guess what, Aaron Rodgers? You're still under contract. I'm signing Devontae Adams first, securing his future first, and then on the back end, hey, Aaron Rodgers, let's see what we could talk about. Let's maneuver some things. But the fact, I still don't know the exact details of Aaron Rodgers' contract. I think what was 3 years, $150 million was the tail of the tape, so to speak, or
extension.
Something like that.
I think it was the extension. I don't know if that kicks in right away.
Either way, they did wrong. They did Devontae Adams wrong, and then the trade him was essentially like, hey, let's get some value from him, because we know that if we franchise tag him, we either have to pay him the following year, or they get nothing for him. He becomes an unrestricted free agent. So they were like,
I don't think he was going to play anyway. I think him and his agent had pretty much told Green Bay, we're not playing for that tag. He wanted to be the highest paid receiver in the league, which he now is.
Oh yeah. And as Scottie D has already let us know, the money man, the money man, it still just drives me insane that he does not want us to say secure the bag anymore. Let me see if I can do this correctly. His financial future is in a much better place right now. Does that sound good? You like that?
I like that. Yeah.
You like that? Man, that's not how I roll. That's not how I roll. He got stacks. That's what I'm gonna say. He got stacks.
All right.
I ain't gonna say secure the bag anymore. He got stacks. Paper stacks. That man got pizzade. Let's get it, Devontae Adams. You deserve it, bro. Man, Packers, I cannot believe that that makes zero sense to me. I understand that Aaron Rodgers is the MVP, but it's one of those things where there's a reason why Tom Brady just won a 7th championship a year ago. It's because he took a pay cut. And now he's the prime and poised to win it again, because he didn't chase a $50 million a year deal. He's like, hey, I'll play for just X amount of dollars as long as we can bring in other players of equal caliber, and people want to play for him. Chris Godwin he got stacks now because Tom Brady's not selfish. Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay, do better. That blew my mind. So, I mean, yes, it didn't surprise me that Devontae Adams is on another team, because, like you said, he wasn't going to play on their franchise tag. Green Bay knew it, and Devontae Adams and his team, his agents, positioned that. So that's why they traded. That's my thought.
Good for Vegas. Good for the Raiders. I mean, Derek Carr now gets himself a target. And Aaron Rodgers, if you think about it, he's had two guys that he's really, really loved throwing the football to, Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson. Now he's basically at 36 starting over again because he lost a couple of those other receivers, if I'm not mistaken. So I am looking forward to a season next year of Aaron Rodgers with pout face. I want to see him just pouting and angry and crying and whining and moaning and pouting. And I hope he's like 8-9 next year.
Didn't they pick up one of your boys from Dallas?
Bob?
No, where did Amari Cooper go?
Cleveland.
Amari Cooper went to Cleveland.
Speaking of Cleveland.
Yeah, let's roll into that. I thought somebody had signed with Green Bay. I'll look it up. But yes, Cleveland, of course.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
Yeah, we got Cleveland. All right. So it was on a Friday. My neighbor upstairs was jumping up and down. I'm like, what's going on with him? What's wrong with him? And come to find out that the Browns said, you know what? We go ahead and take Deshaun Watson. It's the end of the Baker Mayfield era. And the details go down as such, according to NFL.com. All right. It says they acquired quarterback Deshaun Watson in a trade with the Browns, along with a 2024 sixth-round pick in exchange for 3 first-round picks, 2020 through 2022 through 2024, a third rounder in 2023, and 2 fourth-rounders in 22 and 24. Watson will receive a fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract from the Cleveland Browns, according to Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. So Amari Cooper's like, well, damn, I got here, and you're gonna give me nobody to catch the ball from. But now they said, you know what? Cleveland said, you know what? Keep calm, tranquilo. We're just gonna go ahead and get Deshaun Watson. And being up here in the city, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of mixed emotions about it, and for obvious reasons. And I understand that. But I think for an organization, they gave a guy like Johnny Manziel a chance, then they should be able to give Deshaun Watson a chance. And also, let's kind of liken this to the whole Pittsburgh Steelers situation when Ben Roethlisberger made that trip down to Georgia and did what he did. And when Ben Roethlisberger was going to the playoffs, winning games and winning a Super Bowl, the whole attitude of Steelers Nation's changed. And I'm going to tell you, the same thing is going to happen if the Browns start winning games, start winning championships. Because as they say, winning cures all else. I don't want nobody coming at me being, Ed, you're insensitive. No, I'm not insensitive. I just know how people are, and I know how people function. Because people don't tend to stay mad at each other forever, depending on the circumstances and the situation. If you start winning games, this will be water on the bridge.
What if he's not in the games? I mean, this dude's still facing some suspensions.
Here's the thing. Now I want to present this to you, Scottie, because me and you've been going back and forth with this. We've had a lot of conversation about what the league is going to do as far as suspending him, as far as the whole situation is going on. Let me start first by telling the public, to all of our listeners, one thing that I want to make perfectly clear. We here at the Sports Bros podcast, we do not judge. We don't know the story. We do not know the situation. We're not going to take a stance on either side. We're innocent or guilty or whatever. We allow the facts to present itself, and we don't know anything about the story. So anybody that's listening that has a preconceived notion of what this man does, we have absolutely no idea. So let's start there. One thing I can say, Scottie D, that's going to go to your point of the suspensions and how he's going to be available. Part of his contract is that his base salary for this coming year is $1 million. Out of this $230 million guaranteed, his base salary this coming year is $1 million. So if he misses
they're planning on him being suspended. I don't think Roger Goodell can't be happy about that. So they're circumventing the system is what they're doing. They're planning on him being suspended.
That's exactly what they're doing. So that again, that's the business side of things. That once again, I'm gonna say this. That does not go anywhere towards his guilt or his innocence. They're just positioned because they've seen this before with the National Football League and how they react, and especially to the court of public opinion and all this other stuff. The NFL likes to say, well, you know what? I think it'd be in our best interest to curb public opinion by let's suspend and be like the NFL stands against da 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 that we don't even know if he actually did or not. So
right.
So to Scott likes to say that he wants to see some consistency from the league because they did the same thing to Zeke, and Zeke was found innocent or they couldn't find whatever, blah blah blah, yada yada. But that's but yeah, I can understand that. I don't want that to happen. I'm a diehard Deshaun Watson fan. I like so you see the orange. I bleed orange. All roads lead to Dabo. There it is. Boom. You know what I'm saying? But business is business. They're positioning for that such. But another thing I want to mention. Deshaun Watson is a home wrecker. Atlanta, the Saints, the Panthers, even the Browns, because poor Baker Mayfield is just in limbo. They didn't even trade him away yet. No, he's still on the roster.
And they added Jacoby Brissett to be the backup. So, was that who I saw they added?
Yeah, you're right, Jacoby
Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Baker, and the funny thing is, before this happened, before Watson agreed to this, he said, "I'm not going to Cleveland." And Baker was already, I mean, that tube was out of the toothpaste. Baker wasn't going to be able to come back. So they're going to have to trade him because they're going to have to recoup something now. They're going to have to recoup a pick. You know, I thought maybe Baker might be headed to the Colts. So obviously, that's not happening because Matt Ryan's going there. He might be headed to Seattle now. I mean, he's running out of suitors. But look at the haul. Let's give the Texans credit first of all, because while Deshaun's wrecking homes, the Texans, you would seemingly should have been losing leverage as teams are falling off the wayside, because this is not free agency. This is trades. So Houston was losing leverage. We've made fun of Houston for some of the things they've done the past few years, and some of that was Bill O'Brien, and that knucklehead's gone. But they got a first round 3 years in a row. What did they else get? 2 fourths and a third. Mm-hmm. They got a nice little haul back for an organization that needs to rebuild. That's the way to do it right there. So kudos to them for doing that. But like you said, Atlanta interviewing him, Matt Ryan's like, I'm out. Cleveland, Baker's, I'm going to be out. Yeah, you're right, B-Live. He's a home wrecker. I like that. That's well said.
But like Atlanta, Matt Ryan was not happy.
No.
He was not happy about
and they got a third for him. That's all they got is a third.
Oh,
I just named off like 7 picks that Houston got back for Deshaun Watson.
I'm actually still surprised that Houston didn't get any players. Why was Baker not part of that trade deal? I don't know.
That's a good question. That's a good question. Maybe they didn't want to take on that salary. Maybe they just said we're straight building from the bottom.
Gotcha.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
And speaking of some more big news, Matt Ryan, one of the homes that Deshaun Watson wrecked. Matt Ryan, guess what? He'll be taking over Carson Wentz's place as he was traded to the Atlanta Falcons because he's like, you know what?
Indianapolis Colts.
Correction, the Indianapolis Colts. See, I'm so excited I'm messing things up, but it's okay. He was traded from the Falcons to the Colts, and he was like, man, you know what? So y'all going to just sit here and talk to other people while I'm here, and you're going to do it in my face. Okay, I got you. Watch this. All right, and Matt Ryan gets traded from the Falcons to the Colts, and in exchange, in return, the Falcons get a 3rd round pick. That's it. Just a whole 3rd round pick for a former league MVP and Matt Ryan. You know what? I kind of like that trade, and I'll tell you why. The Colts are in need of a quarterback because, as we discussed before, you got one of the best O-lines in the league, and then you got Jonathan Taylor doing what he does. That receiving core can use a little bit of work, but other than that, the Colts are a well-rounded team. Only thing they need was a quarterback at the helm to at least not make as many mistakes as Carson Wentz did, because I don't know what the hell Carson Wentz was doing last year, but Carson Wentz is a problem of the Washington Commanders. Fellas, what do you think about Matty Ice going to the Colts?
Big upgrade.
Yep.
Just for like what you said, it's just him being a threat still, and he still is a threat. He's not as athletic as Wentz, but he can throw the ball. He can throw the ball. Matt Ryan can still throw the ball. And you don't need Aaron Rodgers when you have Jonathan Taylor. You just have to keep the line of scrimmage clear. If they stack the line of scrimmage, Matty Ice can beat you.
There's two things about this. I like it because the Falcons get weaker, and being a division rival, I have no problem with the Falcons getting weaker, and so it gives us a little bit of hope because
Tom Brady's there. Tom Brady's there.
Could you let me finish what I was about to say? I was gonna acknowledge the fact is that it makes it a little bit easier. Because the Saints are still rebuilding.
I almost did it again. But
You almost cussed. We know that Tom Brady, the mother is back. We know. Golly. But yeah, the Falcons are now without their quarterback and their top wide receiver from last year.
Replace Panthers.
Because the Panthers are, boy. We were trying to get Deshaun Watson, but we were not trying to guarantee all that money, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back was the fact that Deshaun Watson wanted his third and fourth year to be guaranteed, and the Panthers didn't want to do that, so Deshaun Watson was like, nope, I don't know. I was like, oh well, it is what it is. I would like at some point in time for my beloved Panthers to pick anybody from Clemson to play for, please. Please. At some point in time.
They might be looking at the draft for their quarterback, huh?
Well, boy.
MVP. Still have MVP.
This is what I want to do as a Panthers fan. Bring back Cam for 1 year. Let's don't go first round for a quarterback. I think it'll still be feasible, but then again, I looked at our draft capital is terrible. We don't have that many draft picks.
We got nothing.
So it's a hot mess.
Jimmy G.
Well, our staff is in Pittsburgh as we speak for his pro day. So
Jimmy G.
No. I thought you said
Kenny Pickett.
I thought you said Kenny P.
Kenny.
Yeah, Tepper and company were in your neck of the woods for his pro day. So
I want Kenny.
I wish I'd have known. I'd have invited him out for dinner.
So yeah.
I want Kenny. Kenny.
I don't know.
What sweet irony that would be. What sweet irony.
Yep. We got to see our future quarterback play. Ain't that something? Yeah. Ain't that something? Yeah. We got a glimpse. We were there for a reason, B-Line. We were there for scouting purposes, and we didn't even know it. But I tell you what, though, guess who got?
I wasn't there to scout nobody. I was there to see. Hopefully, my team win against Pitt. That they don't do when I show up to the games. Sorry. Shut up, Scott. Shut up.
Sweet Caroline.
Oh my.
Okay, go ahead, Eddie.
And speaking of guys that got help, Joe Burrow got him some help. All right, Joe Burrow, he got some help on that offensive line because I was telling people, I said before Cincinnati does anything else, shore up that offensive line. They got Ted Karras, who used to play for Tampa Bay. They signed him to a 3-year, $18 million deal. And then they also got Alex Kappa. They signed him to I'm sorry, I got my people mixed up. Anyways, Alex Kappa, they signed him to a 4-year, $35 million deal. That includes $20 million over the first 2 years and $1 million in Pro Bowl incentives each year per James Palmer and Mike Ruffalo of the NFL Network and Lael Collins. Yes. The Bengals go out and get Lael Collins, and they sign him to a 3-year deal. And the source is per the Cincinnati Bengals. So from the looks of it, we've seen what Joe Burrow can do with a half-decent line. And from the looks of it, he gets not one, not two, but three credible upgrades on the offensive line. I really like the Lael Collins signing because didn't Collins play for the Cowboys at one point, Scott?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's a former Cowboy. Funny you should mention former Cowboys, because I got a little something on my mind here. Now, why do we think Randy Gregory is no longer a Cowboy? Why do we think that? Why do we think he went to Colorado? Rocky Mountain High. Because they got the good weed out there. That's why. And he didn't want to go back to Dallas. And he decided on Monday night, I'm going to Denver. And Tuesday morning, Jared called him. He's like, well, buddy, we kind of invested in you. We had you for 3 years where you sat on the sideline and smoked weed. And he felt bad. And now he's blaming it on the wording of the contract. And he wouldn't call Jerry back, him and his aide. He wanted to go to Denver. He wanted to leave. I think it's for the weed. He wanted to leave.
See, this is the delirium of Cowboys fans. No, he wanted to be a Cowboy.
No, he didn't.
Stephen Jones changed the wording of the contract after the fact. There was a gentleman's agreement that Randy Gregory was going to re-sign with the Cowboys. Right. And then Stephen Jones changed the wording of the contract. And they were like, nope, not happening.
And you know what he did? He wouldn't talk to Jerry again. They wouldn't take the call again. He wouldn't talk to him again.
I wouldn't either.
If you really wanted to be there, if I had a
gentleman's agreement, hey, I want to come back. I want to sign with the Cowboys. I want you to see this right here, right now, Scottie D. If I, as a player, look at you in the eye and say, hey, I want to come back and play with you. Cool, boom, boom. This is what we're going to do right here. Bye. Cool, we got an agreement. And then I come back and you try to slide some sneaky mess into my contract that says, if you do this or if something happens, I'm going to guarantee it has something to do with weed. I guarantee you it has something to do with weed. They slid it. They thought he wouldn't catch it.
Yeah, if you got fined, you're suspended.
Yeah. And they try to slide it in there on the creek side of it.
No, they didn't. They put that wording in almost everybody's contract except for Dak Prescott. But here's the thing: if you have nothing to worry about, why do you care that it's in there? If you're not going to violate or do anything wrong, why do you care if it's in there? Because they had an agreement. They had an agreement back when he drafted him. You're going to play for my team, and he violated that agreement eye to eye whenever he kept going up and smoking Mary Jane up and getting his butt sent to the sideline over and over and over again. Because this guy didn't play or fulfill his prime because he didn't honor his contract, which is to stay clean, just clean, pee clean. No. And then here's how he comes back with that on this week, on this Monday. Nope, your owners acted in bad faith, all free agency. They've been awful quiet lately, huh? Wonder why. Can't wait for you guys to ask them some questions. Now he's turning on the fans and the ownership that stood by him all these years.
Stephen Jones didn't do right by him.
If you don't like the wording, then you counter with that. You don't just go and sign with somebody else unless you really wanted to be with that other team in the first place.
That's the beautiful thing about free agency. He has no obligation to do whatever. And Stephen Jones should have been up front with them.
They put that in all the contracts. That's part of it. And
the wording changed.
Then you know what Randy Gregory should have done back when they drafted him and said, I'm probably not going to be available because I'm going to smoke weed over and over and over again. Maybe he should have said that. They stood by him. So if you wouldn't want to protect that investment by putting you want to guarantee a guy who gets suspension after suspension after suspension, injury after injury after injury. You don't want to put some kind of protection against guaranteed money in that? Does that make good business sense? Bye, Randy Gregory. You only had 6 sacks last year. See ya.
Man, oh man, boy, the disgruntled Cowboy fan. I love Cowboy tears. I tell you what, this is America's team crying again.
See ya.
Again.
Have y'all
even picked up anybody? All the stories I've seen is that y'all have
Rocky Mountain High.
Couldn't resign
Colorado.
Couldn't resign him. You picked Gallup over Amari Cooper. Okay.
For a lot less money.
Yep.
And
5 years, $57.5 million, includes $23 million fully guaranteed, which makes the max value of that contract $62.5 million. The deal also includes a $10 million signing bonus.
Signed James Washington.
Yep.
Signed James Washington.
Yep.
Beefing up that receiving core.
Does Pittsburgh even have receivers left?
Claypool.
Juju gone.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Juju gone.
Juju's with the Chiefs. Washington's with the boy. They're and well, who's the quarterback again?
Trubisky.
Mitch.
Oh, and he has nobody to throw to. Oh my God, the Steelers are.
You just made me spit out my cough drop, B-Live. Trying to poke the bear.
I saw that.
I
saw that in mid-spin. He's like, I said, there goes the cough drop. Boy, we in trouble now. He spit out the cough drop. I was like, I'm gonna sit back and listen.
I got no sympathy for Cowboys fans. Oh yeah, and Eddy, cool. I do apologize. I have not fulfilled my contractual obligation to the show when we were talking about Deshaun Watson and his contract of $230 million.
I was waiting on it.
Guaranteed $230 million, all guaranteed. Boy, Deshaun Watson got that paper stacks, baby, man. But
he got the bag.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Steelers, let's see. They didn't sign any wide receivers. They signed Dwayne Haskins, Mitchell Trubisky, Miles Jack.
That's
Levi
a good pickup
Wallace.
for Pittsburgh.
Yep, that's a good pickup for them as well, too, because I think Miles Jack need to go somewhere and play for a team that actually wins games, that's competitive year in and year out. A team
He'll
that
be
has
in that line, with TJ Watt. That's a good pairing, I think, for him.
Yeah, so he got a 2-year deal, and think about Miles Jack, man. Miles Jack has slept on, but he was just in a terrible situation down there in Jacksonville.
I like him.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. Also, B-Live, the Carolina Panthers, we signed former Cleveland Browns wide receiver Rashad Hollywood Higgins.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I'll make it a little bit less confusing because watching Cincinnati and watching Cleveland games and keep hearing, because you got Cleveland has a Higgins and Cincinnati has a Higgins. I'm like, wait, hold on. T. Higgins is with Cincinnati. All right, cool. All roads lead to that, but you know what time it is. So that's interesting. I'm still trying to figure out who the heck is going to be throwing the ball for us this coming year, because somebody tell me something.
All right, and something else got going on in Carolina. Okay, DJ Moore, he gets a 3-year contract extension. Pretty dope.
Yes.
Brandon Zylstra, who is he still there? He kind of reminds me of what's the guy that always he played for us for Forever Be Live. I think it was one of Jerry Richardson's favorite. You're talking
about Burson.
Yeah.
Was it Brandon Burson?
Yeah, Brinston Burson. Here today, gone tomorrow, gone again, coming back next week. What the hell's going on? And then we also resigned Dante Axon Jackson to a 3-year, $31.5 million contract. And we also signed safety Xavier Woods, not the wrestler, but the football player, to a 3-year contract worth $15
Former Cowboy.
Yep, for $7.5 million. And then we get that punter. No, not Patrick McAfee, but Johnny Hecker. We get a punter.
Okay.
Yep. And, yep. And then we come to terms with Zane Gonzalez on a 2-year deal worth $4.5 million. Oh, also, I'm sorry. And then we also signed Matt Ioannidis, formerly of the Washington football team. Now that's a good move. I like that move. Some beef in the interior. So
I got a little Ioannidis in my elbow lately. It's been really sore when I've been lifting weights.
Got some Ioannidis in his elbow. What are you gonna say, Eli?
Well, I like what Carolina's doing. I just really want to know who's going to be throwing the ball. So I got a question, because remember what we said in the middle. I told you we were going to do this. I told you exactly what we were going to do when it came to football. What team do y'all think has made the biggest splash in free agency so far? Who do y'all think?
Las Vegas. I say Las Vegas. Just
Why is you in my playbook? Because that's what we ain't talking about him yet. That's how Las Vegas haters.
Yeah.
I kind of think maybe Denver, because that was a really good team that needed a quarterback, and they went and got one of the best available ones in Russell Wilson. And I always thought Russell Wilson's a tad overrated, but he's good. He's very good. It's not, I never thought he was terrible, but Denver needed a quarterback badly, and they are immediately in the conversation now of contenders. So,
and how about the AFC West as a whole?
Yeah,
boy,
the AFC
West. That's not gonna be like. Here's the thing about the AFC West that you're talking about. Derek Carr could easily be considered the worst quarterback in that division, and Derek Carr is no pushover. Nope. I would take Derek Carr in Carolina right now. I would, without
a lot of teams would love to have him.
God Almighty, and he could, right now could be considered the fourth best, the worst QB in that division.
Mm-hmm.
God,
and not even to mention getting Josh McDaniels, giving him another crack at the head coaching position.
But now Derek Carr's got arguably the best wide receiver in the game to throw the ball to. And on top of that, the Raiders have the best pass rusher in the game right now, Chandler Jones. Who's my dude that plays on the other side for the on the line for the Raiders?
Max Crosby.
Yes. Max Crosby on one side, Chandler Jones on the other side of that defensive line. You got Derek Carr throwing to Devontae Adams. Got Josh Jacobs in the back.
Darren Waller at tight end.
And then you got your boy and my boy. You got Hunter Renfrow. And you got Brian Edwards.
And Brian Edwards. It's just like I said, man. If not this coming season, but next year, the Raiders will be a problem. I'm telling you. They said before, the road to the Super Bowl runs through Kansas City. I'm going to say the road to the Super Bowl runs through the AFC West. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, because the AFC, this is the most loaded I've ever remembered the AFC West being. Either it's been one good quarterback or two good quarterbacks. Like B-Live said, now there's 4 quarterbacks, and Derek Carr could be the worst one on the list. And then we got Justin Herbert doing Justin Herbert stuff. And then we got Russell Wilson making the Broncos team better. And then we just have
Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory's out there in that division now.
Smokey Gregory.
Rocky Mountain High.
Let it go,
Colorado.
Scott. Let it go.
Rocky Mountain High, Colorado.
God, I've never encountered so much bitterness.
Yep.
Oh man, I want Scott. I didn't tag you, but I shared a video of Scooter Magruder be the Cowboys fans their free agency. Hopefully you get a chance. Oh my God,
I saw it actually.
Hilarious, but yeah. And all of that QB talk we were talking about the AFC West, we still didn't mention the $503 million man in Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
He's still the best. He's still
married
the
man. Married man.
Yep. Oh, and also the Rams keep on getting better, because guess what they did? They signed Allen Robinson to their wide receiver core. Traded Robert Woods to Tennessee, but what did they do? We're just going to go ahead and get Allen Robinson. So from the looks of it, we got Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, and a possible returning Odell Beckham Jr.
He still remains unsigned. So
yeah.
I would hope it's a business decision because he's hurt. But I hope that the Rams do re-sign him. He's not going to make the big dollar contract that he might want. But I hope they re-sign him. And I think that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Especially the way the NFC is looking right now. The NFC is not strong.
No.
It really is not. It's in Thomas, Edward, Patrick, Carmichael, Fitzpatrick, Order of Canada.
Coda, Rain.
Yeah.
The mother came back.
And then this Aaron Rodgers with nobody to throw to, and then that's it.
Dakota Rain Prescott.
Then you got Dak Prescott, and then with as far as Aaron Rodgers go, who he got? Valdez, Scapling, and Alan Lazard. Hopefully Green Bay figure out something because they. Hey, how funny would it be if the Lions finished better than them in their own?
Sign me up for that. Sign me up for that. I would love it.
But Aaron Rodgers, y'all just lost to the knee biters. You lost to the Detroit knee biters.
I hope Jared Goff does something good this year because he's got to be just in pain right now. Because Matthew Stafford is living his best life, and Jared Goff is like,
what the hell, man? Yep. But
I don't nobody love me.
Yep. But you know what we do love?
What? Oh yeah. I think I have an idea what we love. Is it that time though?
It is that time. It is that time once again for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. With that being said, hey yo, button, hit it with the fancy music and everything.
And now our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show. You heard a woman. It's 140 plus episode later, and she never lied to you because this is the choices of the voices. All right. Yep. As you can see. Yep. Well, we ask the question, you give us the answer, and we talk about it and just have fun. Just have good, clean fun. With that being said, Scottie D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
In the spirit of March Madness, we asked just to list off some memorable March Madness moments. And we had a couple good responses here, Eddie. I had a couple nice pictures put up of some past moments. A couple people touched on those. Go ahead. Tell us what we got there, Eddie. Cool.
All right, here we go. We got JR, friend to the show. He says, well, I've got two. Lehigh beating Duke as a 15 seed, and then Villanova beating USC for the national championship.
Yeah, that was just a couple of years ago. And what was it, 2018, 16, I think it was.
Yeah, 16.
Chris Jenkins hit the shot at the buzzer.
Ooh.
Thrilling moment.
Ooh. That was a good one. That was a good one. All right. Joe Gaff. Go ahead, be laugh.
Wasn't that like the first time that they had like the stadium game and they had like the view of the court was different?
Yeah.
That I think that had like an impact on it as well. Like I do remember they were mentioning like because of the stadium, because of the lighting, it made like it made it tougher to shoot. Let's put it that way. But that was an incredible game. Even though I am a North Carolina I grew up a North Carolina basketball fan. Paul Odom, shut up. I now because of him, I will stick to Clemson through and through. But I will always pick North Carolina over Duke. I said what I said. Yes, sir.
All right, moving right along. We got Joe Buggins, Joe Gafkin. He said memorable moments for me was when the Terps, Maryland, and the Hoyas won the chip. When George Mason went to the Final Four, and was also cool watching UMBC, a 16th seed, beat UVA, the number 1 seed. That's very region heavy, ain't it, B Live?
I said what I said. I said to him, now I get to say it on the air. There is life outside of the DMV, in which he replies, he's like, I only know my hood. I was like, that's my dude, Joey Buckets, man. I wouldn't have it any other way, man. Rep your hood, bro. I love it.
Put your
that George Mason
up.
Run was pretty cool, though.
Oh, it was. We and didn't the guy, what's his name, Jabari White or something like that? Didn't he wind up playing football or something like that?
I don't know. I remember they had a guy that was really wide, a big dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he wound up like playing football and didn't make it. But anyways, all right, moving right along. We got Hot Rod, Rodney Bellamy. He said, Hill to Leitner, but I'll go outside the box. Memorable moment, the Louisville versus Duke game where Kevin Ware hurt his leg. Ooh, that was ugly. It was gruesome. Top 5 craziest things I've seen on live TV. YouTube it if you don't remember. Nah, I'm good.
Nope, I'm good. I promise you I'm good.
He said it happened right on the Duke bench, and those kids' faces said it all. Kid made a full recovery, and I believe he was back playing 2 years later. Yeah, Kevin Ware destroying his leg.
I think he transferred. I think he played for someone else, but I do remember when that happened. I still have not seen it because I was working at our favorite sports bar overtime, and I was carrying a tray, and I heard everybody go, "Ooh!" at the same time. And I looked up and I saw the replay of his teammates like drop. Hey, there you go, Be Live Koozie. You got the overtime koozie.
I got it.
And I saw his teammates drop, and I said, I know what happened, and I'm not watching that ever. And that was very unfortunate for that young man.
Yeah, seeing broken limbs live when it happened, it's never a good thing.
Outside of the skin, no, I'm good, bro.
No,
I'll take your word for it. Like, when Hot Rod mentioned it, and I was like, I want to see it again, but I really don't. Just for the nope, I'm good. I'm good. I just like it's burned in my brain, but it's just like I know I don't want to see it again.
Not again.
Like, I don't need a refresher.
I sure don't. All right, Matty Ice, Martin Tracy. He says, I remember I was watching this game at Players Sports Bar. I was also wanting Duke to lose, and I was surrounded by Duke fans. That game was so great. That game was great. I'm sorry if I can read today. That game was great. So much talent on the court that day. My bad. UNC, LOL. My least other favorite team. And then he posted a image of Chris Webber's timeout. He gave us a lot. Chris Webber
the Chris Webber timeout was a definitely memorable one. I think we all, at least I do. I can remember where I was at a party watching that game. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was definitely a doozy. All right, we got Tony Bogan. What's up, Tony Bogan of Keon Sports Media Group? He gives us two. In 2006, George Mason stunning top seed at UConn to make it to the Final Four. And in 2018, UMBC winning over Virginia to be the first 16 seed to knock off a number 1 seed. Two good ones there, Tony. Two good ones there, Tony. Yep. Two good ones there. With that being said, shout out to JR, shout out to Joe, Rodney, Martin Tracy, and Tony Bogan for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. And with that being said, we're always sharing memories. I'll go first, all right? The year was the 2017-2018 college basketball season. There was a team in Columbia, South Carolina, that rose from out of the ashes. It was the University of South Carolina Fighting Mighty Damn Gamecocks, all right? The men, they were led by Coach Frank Martin, and the girls were led by the immortal Dawn Staley. And both teams, well, the girls was already good, but the guys, not so much. They, it was a tough SEC. They had to fight through the likes of Florida and Kentucky and Auburn just to get in the tournament, win it, and survive and advance. Well, they survived and they advanced, and they had some big wins in the tournament, but the men's, they came up short. So valiant efforts. But them damn girls, baby, they came through and they won the national championship, and they just won it in convincing fashion. And yeah, it gave the University of South Carolina their first ever national basketball championship, and it was Dawn Staley's 10th season at the helm. So now Dawn Staley has a ring on her finger, and hopefully this year the Lady Gamecocks can do the same. USC, go Cox. Hey. USC.
Didn't they fire that coach? Didn't they just fire that guy?
Yeah, they just fired him. They fired him in. They thought he was the next best thing when he came with Kansas State, and comes to the pit of despair that is in Columbia, South Carolina. I said what I said. Yes, congratulations to the Lady Coots.
The lady fighting Gamecocks who looked at Howard said, "You want some too, old man?" And Howard said, "No." And then we just said, "All right, Scottie D, what you got?" Well,
I mentioned this actually, I think, on our first ever Choices of Voices. I think I'm going to rehash the story, but I just condensed it. But it was back in 1990 tournament. Prior to the tournament, Loyola Marymount's Hank Gathers had passed away, and his best friend, Bo Kimball, was leading the team. And Hank Gathers was an incredible player. He led the nation in rebounding the year prior, NBA lottery prospect, and he died on the court in the conference tournament. Excuse me. So his best friend was Bo Kimball, and in their first game against New Mexico State, I think they were like an 11 seed, Loyola Marymount, and Bo Kimball picked up his fourth foul, and the coach, Paul West, had never took him out of the game. He left him in the game, and he never fouled out. But the most memorable thing happened in the second half when he went to the free throw line. In honor of Hank Gathers, who had trouble from the free throw line, he would shoot left-handed. Bo Kimball did the same thing in his honor, and he shot his first free throw left-handed, and he made it. And I get goosebumps even now thinking about it. And he did that on the first free throw of every game during that tournament. They went to the Elite Eight, and he made every single one of them. And I thought that was, to me, there'll never be a better, more incredible feeling than watching that happen in that tournament, 1990. Be Live, what you got?
This one's gonna be near and dear. It's gonna be off the kilter a little bit because you see my Clemson Tiger Paw here. There's a reason why I root for the Tar Heels in basketball, because Clemson really doesn't have that many basketball memories. It is what it is. But it is what it is.
Hey George, there's a memory of Tate George for UConn.
I understand that pool. It's not anyway. The reason why I say this is because I'm gonna go back to a moment of time, and I'm gonna reach into Joey Bucket's bag, where I was a regional fanboy, to say the least. During my tenure at the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, our basketball, the Navy basketball program, of course, the Admiral, Dave Robinson, I got to play on the same court he did. It was intramurals, but that's a whole nother story or whatever. It was pretty cool. I got to play basketball at Alumni Hall on the same court that Dave Robinson. That's hearing that. But at the time, all the stir in all the region of Maryland at a point in time was just up the street, just about 25 minutes away from the Naval Academy, University of Maryland, the Terrapins, College Park. Man, that year it was 2001, where Maryland was on a tear with the likes of Juan Dixon, Terrence Moss, Lonnie Baxter. This team was stacked.
I remember that team loaded.
God Almighty, they were stacked. And it was the Elite Eight game against Stanford. And this was, when I tell you the entire town of Annapolis, the entire state, we were all Maryland Terrapin fans. And when they pulled out that victory, man, it just incredible energy throughout the entire state. I really, really wish they would allow us midshipmen to go outside of our little boundary that they gave us. They won't allow midshipmen in their freshman year to travel 23 miles out. We have a 23-mile radius around the Naval Academy that we cannot leave. That basically keeps us out of Baltimore, keeps us out of College Park, keeps us out of DC, keeps us out of Ocean City, keeps us from doing anything fun. But man, the atmosphere that I know, because a couple of my upperclassmen friends ended up going to that weekend, was in College Park, Maryland, and they said the entire university was insane. And just the amount of energy and everything. I just remember vividly just watching every single game that year. And then, of course, in the Final Four, they ended up losing to Duke. And this at the time, Maryland was still in the ACC. So the eventual champion Duke Blue Devils ended up beating Maryland that year. But Maryland turned around the following year and won it all in 2002. So Joey Buckets, that one's for you. And for me, something I got to experience that year, very close, very near and dear to my heart. Maryland Terrapins, I was very upset when you ran off to the Big Ten because I had so many memories from them being in the ACC. It is what it is. But yeah, that was, I had to bring something near and dear to me. That's all.
I like that one. That's a great story. I like that.
Oh, man. March Madness. You gotta love it. Yes, sir.
Yep, they call it madness for a reason. And shout out to everybody for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Scottie D, tap. What's on tap for next week, sir?
All right, we're going to stick with March Madness stuff, sort of. But from watching this tournament and the imminent retirement of Coach K, who now do you feel is the best coach in college basketball? We actually debated not long ago if it was the best ever being Coach K and John Wooden were the two that came out. But who currently, now that Coach K is going to be on the shave, what current active coach is the best in college basketball? We'll talk about that next week, Eddie. Well, that'll give us something to talk about.
Tune back in next week. We're talking about more March Madness, more college basketball, and the Choices of the Voices. Hold on tight. Don't sneeze. Pepper coming right up.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
Well, it's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, I told you don't sneeze, baby. Please don't sneeze. Why? Because it is time for another round of pepper. So me and B-Live, we're just going to be throwing the ball back at each other because Scottie D, he had to take care of himself. Shout out to the money man, Scottie D, for being the ultimate trooper. And
it's all Randy Gregory's fault because Scottie D's a little under the weather, but we do appreciate him coming on with us. But yeah, had a little coughing fit after that rant because Randy Gregory decided to go elsewhere. So he's gonna rest his voice, be ready for next week. So
yep. All right.
Man.
Yep. And so with that being said, this is Eddie Cool and B-Live. It's the bros. All right, so here we go. All right, now I'll go first. On this day in history, back in 1958 is the 20th NCAA Men's National Championship game. All right. Kentucky, the University of Kentucky defeats the Seattle Chieftains 84-72. Now, this is way before a three-point line. All right. And Kentucky wins another national championship. And Elgin Baylor of the Seattle Chieftains, he wins most outstanding player through the entire tournament. There's not too many times that the losing player gets an award, but shout out to the Hall of Famer and rest in peace to the one, the only, the legendary Elgin Baylor. But on the other side, Kentucky, they win another national championship. Over to you, B-Live.
Oh, man. Gotta love the history. I'm going to bring it all the way to the present, though. And you know me at this point in time when it comes to my pepper points. They usually are on this borderline of ridiculousness because I just love the silly things when it comes to sports. Well, at Pittsburgh's pro day, Pittsburgh Panthers, their pro day where Kenny Pickett was featured, of course. I mean, he's going to be entering the draft. How he sought after quarterback in a down year for quarterbacks. One of the biggest things they've been talking about is Kenny Pickett's hand size. And as of, it would say on record that he would have the smallest hands of any quarterback that's ever played since they've been measuring hand size in the combine, et cetera, like that. Well, I'm pleased to inform you that after the combine, Kenny Pickett has been sitting on his hand, doing hand stretches, and doing anything he possibly can to make his hand bigger. And so, therefore, yes, this is a real thing, that his hand size increased by 1/8 of an inch from the combine to his pro day. So, it's still the smallest hands ever, but they've grown 1/8 of an inch. Kenny Pickett doing strides to make his hand bigger for the National Football League. Eddie Cool, the ball.
Okay, my hands have normal size, and that's outrageous. I have never. If I do that, my fingers, I'm pulling and popping knuckles. But that's neither here nor there. All right, we're getting towards that time of the year. College football ain't too far away, but in the meantime, we got a couple spring games going on. One of the most notable spring games is the Jackson State Tigers. That's right, Coach Prime and the Jackson State Tigers. The hits keep on coming. A lot of historical feats for this HBCU. And the biggest one for the first time in history in all of HBCUs, This spring game will be televised on ESPNU on April 24th at 5 p.m. A little small excerpt from the Black Wall Street Times. The incredibly bright spotlight that once shined on Deion Sanders is now being lit for the benefit of Jackson State University's football program, the city of Jackson, Mississippi, and the HBCU culture at large, and he knows it, all right? Being the first HBCU to have our spring game nationally televised is a monumental leap in the right direction for Jackson State and all HBCUs, according to Coach Prime. And then it says, a little headline says, Coach Prime is delivering faster than DoorDash. I'll tell you what. So here's what Deion Sanders has done. Last season, he led the school to his first ever 11-win season, first ever SWAC title in 14 years, and his first appearance in the Championship Celebration Bowl. He did all this while dealing with complications following toe surgery, which caused him to have 2 toes amputated. Deion Sanders is just doing everything right now for HBCUs, and it is a wonderful thing to see. Think about it. On ESPNU, April 24th, you will see the Jackson State Tigers play a spring game. Another first in the history of HBCUs. Over to you, Be Live.
Oh, you gotta love it. Absolutely love it. Coach Prime, keep doing your thing.
And I'll be tuning in.
HBCUs stand up. And I mean, even though Eddy Cool over here is a hypocrite because he was over here talking all good about how the Lady Gamecocks beat up on Howard.
See,
and now you want to rep HBCUs. Okay, I see how it is.
See, Be Live. In life, things happen. Things happen. It's just,
oh man, you know me. You know I got no good. And just think of it this way: my first pepper point was already ridiculous. So can you imagine where we're going from there?
A guy that sat on his hands and pulled on his fingers. What the hell you got, Be Live? Over to you.
Well, my second pepper point is a little bit more on the tamer side, but it's still crazy in every sense of the word. And this comes from the CCHA Championship. CCHA, what is that?
What is that, Be Live? What is it?
Well, the CCHA is the Central Collegiate Hockey Association. It is a Division I hockey only division conference, and the champion of the league goes on to the hockey tournament, which ends with the Frozen Four, which is hockey's equivalent of March Madness. And so, in the championship game, you had Minnesota State versus Bemidji State. Don't ask me where that's at. I'll Google for you later. As the game was going on, the game was tied. And near the end of the third period, it looked like Minnesota State had scored a game-winning goal. Was it the third quarter? It could have been overtime, but either way, what it looked like, they had scored a goal. Game, set, match. Minnesota State goes on to the hockey big tournament. Well, not so fast. An hour after they had been presented the trophy, the team's been on the ice, presented the trophy. One of the video producers was like, hold on, they're probably putting a video package together of highlights after the game and realized, wait a minute, that last goal was not a goal at all. Ooh. So the officials and the conference, the bigwigs in the conference, they were reviewing the video footage. This is an hour after the game is over with, presented the trophy and everything, realized that when he shot the goal, the goaltender actually accidentally lifted up the goal and the puck went underneath the net and the goal never counted. So they had to call both teams back for them to suit up an hour and a half later to start overtime because the goal did not start. Gave them a 5-minute overtime. Fortunately enough, puck don't lie. Minnesota State eventually scored the game-winning goal, and they were rightfully presented the trophy and went into the tournament. But an hour after the game, they're like, not so fast. Come on back to the ice. We got it wrong. And yeah, they had to restart the game. Wow.
Damn.
What a story.
How
How do you have the energy to come back from that? You know, they
just
eventually won, but Lord, you done celebrated and I mean, you don't pop champagne because these are kids in college, but you throw in the water and everything. You won, got the trophy, all of that. Going to the dance. No, come on back. We messed up. That didn't work. Oh man.
It stinks. And Bemidji is a town or city in Minnesota. I do remember that. So
wow. All right, cool.
Yep, Bemidji State University. There ain't no other Bemidji. I think Bemidji is Ojibwayan for Lake. I don't want to mess it up, so I'm not going to say it. All right. So that being said, third and final pepper point. Let's talk about at least trying to be decent human beings. All right. So a friend of mine showed me a video of Michigan linebacker David Ajabo. Right. He was doing his drills at his Michigan Pro Day, and then he pulls up lane and falls to the ground in excruciating pain. Turns out he tore his Achilles tendon. Right? So you figure, oh my God, he's in the ground, writhing in pain. Somebody's going to come and see about him. So there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of shoes that I'm counting. A couple people back up, and people are standing and looking around. And as David Ajabo is on the ground writhing in pain, there's a guy who's no more than maybe like 3 feet in front of him while he's writhing in pain, looks at him, picks up the football, looks at him again, and just sashays his punk ass off the field. I wish I knew that guy's name because I would light him up like a firecracker on the 4th of July. You mean to tell me this man is hurting and you're not going to at least talk to him, console him, hold his hand, see how he was doing? He's in excruciating pain. And it's all about when things like that happen. I know you're not a medical professional, but sometimes you have to be a decent human being. You have to be a decent human being and at least show that you give a damn. Nope, you worry about a football. It's probably not even $50 damn, picking up the football, looking at the dude, and going about your merrily MFing business. Whoever that guy is, you, sir, in the words of Money Man Scottie D, need to do better. Sometimes people, over you, Be Live.
It blows my mind.
It's despicable.
Oh, God almighty. Well, and you know me with the ridiculous.
One more.
Yeah. And this one takes the cake because this is another case of somebody that needs to do better. I don't know, Eddie Cool, if you saw a clip of Glenn Big Baby Davis sitting on the sitting in courtside seats. I forget what the game was. It was the Celtics and the Nets, and it was in Boston. And Glenn Big Baby Davis happened to be in attendance, and he was sitting courtside when the camera came and was saying that Glenn Davis is here. You know what I'm saying? He's I won't say celebrity. I mean, he's a former professional ball player. He's got
no right. They know who he is.
He's got no So they pan the camera over to him. As they pan the camera over to him, a couple comes to sit down, and they realize Glenn Big Baby Davis is sitting in their seats, and they motion to him like, "Hey, and he's like, oh, these your seats? So you were stunting in front of the camera, and you didn't even have courtside seats. Why would you even do that?" It gets better, because not only were those not his seats, he wasn't supposed to be at the game in the first place.
God, dog.
And you want to know why?
Why?
Because he was one of a dozen former NBA players that was submitting false medical claims to the league's benefit. And so he had actually gotten arrested and was out on bail. And part of his bail part of his bail was that he was not supposed to be at the game. He was supposed to be appear on the radio program Toucher and Rich on 98.5 The Sports Hub in Boston, but he had to cancel due to a court appearance, and the court appearance was because he violated bail, and he was seen doing it on national TV because he wanted to stunt like he actually had courtside seats. Glenn, Big Baby Davis, you absolutely 100% have to do better. Get your life. What? What are you doing?
I don't. The need to stunt, be live, and be an decent human being supersedes the act of being just a good person. All right. So now we got all our pepper points out the way. We want to say thank you once again for joining us. Yes, all that. Thank you for joining us on this ride known as the Sports Bros Podcast. 148 episodes and counting. Hey, to our new listeners, our new subscribers, I'll tell you what you can do. You can go to whatever format, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, leave us a 5-star rating, write a review, said Eddy said so, chocolate covered peanut butter, just say anything. It helps out with the algorithms and it helps us get heard and get seen. Also, click that Linktree link in the description box and you'll see everything there is on the Sports Bros Podcast. Be live. You got anything to say before we get the hell up out of here and go watch some wrestling?
We got to get some wrestling in our system. Quick shout out once again to my boy Stan Sagley, Lucky Duck Burger Truck. Check him out. I do know he runs. He usually is in Cameron, North Carolina, home of the Hardy Boys. Yep. And so I believe they'll be out there. It's either Saturday. I need to get more details. I want to always mention him as he's a avid supporter of the Sports Bros Podcast and Money Talks and BS Walks. So we appreciate the contribution to our program. And hey, we are growing. We're absolutely growing, and we appreciate what you do. And every input counts. That's why we love our listeners, our viewers. Every choice of the voices, every comment we get, man, that means a lot to us. And that's why we do what we do. Well, we do what we do because we enjoy doing it. But the people that listen to it makes it that much better. We are the Sports Bros, by the fan, for the fan.
Yes, and in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They're greatly appreciated now more than ever. Be a blessing, not a burden. Also, be grateful. All right? Just remember to be grateful. And with that being said, it's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Be live. Take us home, baby.
Yes, sir.
Get out of here. See my big body moving around. Thanks for listening to the Sports Bros Podcast.